My name is Mason Vale, and 5 years ago, I entered Blackthorne Psychiatric Institute for the first and last time. Officially, the hospital had been abandoned since 1998, after multiple patient deaths and accusations of illegal experimentation. But locals around the area believed something else. They believed the patients never actually left. Blackthorne sat deep in the forest, nearly 30 miles outside the nearest town. No working roads, no phone signal, no nearby houses, just trees. Endless dead trees surrounding a massive concrete structure, slowly rotting into the ground. I wasn't there alone. There were 4 of us total. Me, a paranormal videographer named Tyler Graves, an urban explorer called Nina Hart, and our sound engineer, Owen Pierce. At the time, we ran a small online channel exploring abandoned locations, hospitals, factories, military bunkers. Places people claimed were haunted. Most of the time it was fake. Creepy atmosphere mixed with internet stories. Nothing more. But Blackthorne was different from the moment we arrived. The first thing we noticed was the silence. No birds, no insects. Nothing. Even the forest sounded dead around the building. Then we saw the windows, hundreds of them, and some of them had movement behind the glass. At first we assumed it was reflections, but Tyler zoomed in with the camera, and standing behind one of the upper floor windows was a person. Tall, thin, completely still, watching us. Owen laughed nervously and said maybe another exploration crew got there first, but something about the figure looked wrong. Its proportions, its posture, like it didn't fully understand how humans stand. Then it disappeared from the window instantly. No movement, just gone. We should have left right there. Instead, we went inside. The smell hit us immediately. Mold, rot, old chemicals, and underneath all of it something metallic, like dried blood. Our flashlights barely cut through the darkness. The main hallway looked frozen in time. Wheelchairs overturned beside walls. Patient files scattered across the floor. Restraint beds still inside treatment rooms. Then Tyler pointed his flashlight toward the reception desk. Someone had written something across the wall in black paint. Don't let them hear you. None of us spoke for several seconds. Then, somewhere deeper in the hospital, a metal door slammed shut. Not wind, not the building settling. A real slam. Owen whispered that somebody else was inside with us. Then the lights flickered once overhead. That made no sense. The hospital had no power. Tyler immediately became excited. He thought we finally found real paranormal evidence. But Nina looked terrified. She kept staring down the far hallway, like she saw something moving in the dark. Then we heard the first voice, a woman crying softly, somewhere upstairs. Not screaming, just quiet, exhausted crying. We followed the sound toward the patient wing. The deeper we went, the colder the building became. Our breath became visible in the air, and every few minutes, we heard wheelchairs moving somewhere nearby. Always close enough to hear, never close enough to see. Eventually, we reached the hydrotherapy ward. Most of the rooms were empty except for rusted bathtubs and broken restraints. Then Tyler noticed something strange near one of the tubs. Fresh footprints, wet footprints, bare human footprints leading deeper into the ward. And they weren't dusty, they were fresh, like someone had just walked through water moments earlier. That's when Owen finally said we needed to leave. Honestly, I agreed with him, but Tyler refused. He kept saying this could be the biggest video we'd ever filmed. Then we heard laughing, children laughing, very faint, coming from below us. Blackthorne didn't have a children's ward, at least officially. Nina asked if anyone else smelled smoke, and suddenly, I did. Burned fabric, burned hair. Then every flashlight flickered at the same time, and for one split second, the hallway around us wasn't empty anymore. People were standing there, patients, dozens of them. Thin figures in hospital gowns surrounding us silently. Then the lights stabilized, and they were gone. Owen panicked immediately. He grabbed my arm and demanded we leave right now. But before we could move, the hospital intercom activated. A distorted voice echoed through the speakers. Evening medication will begin shortly. The voice sounded ancient, broken, almost mechanical. Then something started running upstairs. Fast. Not human footsteps. Too fast. Too many impacts at once. Like multiple legs hitting the floor simultaneously. The sound stopped directly above us. Then slowly, we heard creaking from the ceiling. Something heavy moving overhead, tracking us. Tyler whispered that he wanted to go see it. Nina actually started crying quietly, and honestly, I think part of me already knew we weren't leaving Blackthorne normally. Then the screaming started. Somewhere deep in the hospital, a man screaming in absolute terror. It echoed through every hallway at once, and then suddenly cut off. Owen dropped his equipment bag immediately. He turned toward the exit hallway and froze. Someone was standing there, tall, thin, wearing old patient restraints hanging from its arms, its face hidden in darkness. Then our camera light flickered across it for half a second, and I saw it smile, too wide, far too wide for a human face. Then it sprinted toward us. We ran instantly, down random hallways, past collapsed patient rooms, past operating theaters, past walls covered in scratch marks. And behind us, we could hear dozens of footsteps following, Not one thing, many. Then Owen disappeared. 1 second, he was behind me. The next, he was gone. We heard him screaming somewhere inside the walls, not the hallway, inside the walls. And something inside the walls was laughing. We never saw Owen again. Kyla grabbed Nina's hand and pulled her forward through the corridor, while I kept looking behind us, expecting to see Owen running after us. But the hallway behind us was empty. Completely empty, only darkness, and distant, scratching sounds coming from inside the walls. Then Owen screamed again, closer this time. "Don't let them touch you." The scream ended suddenly with a wet, choking noise, then silence. Tyler stopped running. He kept staring at the wall beside us. At first I thought he was in shock, then I saw it too. The wallpaper was moving. Something underneath it was crawling through the walls, fast, following us. The shape stopped directly beside Tyler. Then slowly, a human hand pressed outward from beneath the wallpaper. Fingers stretching unnaturally against the surface. Trying to push through, Nina started screaming. Tyler finally snapped out of it and we ran again. The hospital layout stopped making sense after that. Hallways looping into themselves. Doors leading into rooms we already passed. Staircases ending in solid concrete walls. At one point, we ran from the same nurse station 3 separate times. Same overturned wheelchair, same blood stain beside the desk, same patient file lying open, but each time, something changed slightly. The first time, the hallway was empty. The second time, someone was standing at the far end watching us. The third time, all the patient room doors were open. And people were breathing inside them. That's when Tyler admitted something. He told us he lied about researching Blackthorne. He already knew about the disappearances. According to old records, multiple exploration crews had entered the hospital over the years. Very few ever came back, and the ones who did were never mentally normal afterward. One survivor claimed the hospital itself was alive, that it changed around people, fed on fear and coppered memories. Tyler thought it was just internet horror stories, until now. Suddenly the intercom activated again. Patient must return to their rooms. Then every door in the hallway slammed shut simultaneously, except one, room 108. The door slowly creaked open by itself. Inside, there was light, warm yellow light. The first real light we had seen in the building. Nina whispered that maybe somebody was inside. May being staff, May being security, but deep down, I think all of us already knew that wasn't true. Still, we went inside. The room looked impossible compared to the rest of the hospital. clean, perfectly clean. Fresh sheets on the bed, working ceiling lights. A record player softly spinning in the corner. And sitting in a chair beside the window was an old woman wearing a nurse uniform. She looked at us and smiled gently. "You shouldn't be here after visiting hours." None of us answered. Something about her felt wrong immediately. Not aggressive, not threatening, just wrong. Her skin looked too pale, her eyes too still, like a mannequin pretending to be human. Then she slowly looked toward Tyler and said his full name. Tyler went completely pale. We never told her our names. Then she looked at Nina and spoke again. "Your brother is still downstairs." Mina nearly collapsed. Earlier during the drive, she told us privately her younger brother disappeared years ago inside another abandoned asylum in Oregon. There was no possible way this woman could know that. Then the old nurse stood up slowly, bones cracking softly beneath her uniform. And for a split second, her face twitched, like something underneath her skin moved the wrong way. She smiled wider, far wider than humanly possible. Then all the lights in the room shut off, complete darkness. Nina started screaming immediately. Tyler dropped the camera, and somewhere directly in front of us, we heard the old nurse breathing. Closer, closer, closer. Then the emergency lights activated red across the hallway outside. The room was empty. The nurse was gone. But written across the wall above the bed, in fresh black letters, was a message. "She remembers you." Before we could react, something slammed violently against the room door from outside. Then again, and again, whatever was outside sounded enormous, heavy enough to shake the entire floor. Tyler looked through the small window in the door, and immediately stumbled backward in terror. I looked next, and I still regret it. Standing outside the room was a patient at least 7 feet tall, its body wrapped in old leather restraints, its head twitching violently side to side, and stitched across its mouth was human skin. Then it charged the door. The entire frame bent inward instantly. We ran through the back exit of the room seconds before the thing broke inside. The corridors beyond looked older, much older, like we'd entered a different part of the hospital entirely. Paint peeling from stone walls, rust-covered surgical equipment, patient beds with restraints still attached, and strange symbols carved repeatedly into nearly every surface. Then Tyler noticed a sign barely hanging above a stairwell. Sub-level therapy ward, and from somewhere far below us, children were laughing again, except this time there were hundreds of voices,